Thank you to the panel. First, I know I said this earlier today, but I wanted to make sure that I address this in this panel. The social distancing enforcement by the NYPD, as I've said from the beginning, they should have never been charged with enforcing social distancing and facial coverings. I thought immediately that that was going to drive a wedge between communities, and obviously it has. Uh, I think they should have been strongly encouraging social distancing and wearing facial masks. Ironically, back in 1918 with the Spanish flu in New York City, the mayor of New York City authorized the health commissioner at the time, Copeland was his name, and health department workers were giving police status to issue summonses and arrests for people spitting on the sidewalk. So this is nothing new. This has been something that obviously has been an issue in communities and society for a long time. But I do believe that this did open the opportunity for some oversteps and definitely something that I don't agree with. I also was deeply troubled by watching the videos. It was unnecessary interactions that didn't have to rise to that level. And being a former supervisor in the NYPD and an officer, I truly do feel that way. And I want you to understand that. You touched on some of the conversation here, touched on 50A. Now, I want to be clear. There's another side to 50A. Now, and I do believe that we should weed out officers that definitely should not be on the force. But remember, those lawsuits that you mentioned, a lot of them are frivolous. I received 2 to 3 lawsuits as a police officer. I did not even get a chance to represent myself in court with the corp counsel to defend myself against those lawsuits that were had no factual basis. I wanted to go to court. I was not allowed to. They settled out of court. So if you looked at my record, you would have thought, wow, he got sued 3 times for excessive force. I was willing to defend myself. I could not. The city automatically settled. That is something that needs to change. So you have 2 things at City Hall and the executive in the state as well. They're the ones that put the charge for the police departments to enforce social distancing. They're the ones that decide who's going to settle those lawsuits. Now, on the other end with 50A, you have Civilian Complaint Review Board. I received 4 civilian complaints as a police officer, 2 from the same individual. That individual, on the second one, was filing the complaint because we arrested him. He tried to take my firearm. I had to hit his hand numerous times after he pulled me down in an SRO. We were on top of him. He's trying to get my gun. And the reason why he was being arrested is because he assaulted and he brutally beat his prostitute wife. He was her pimp. In order for me to get him to stop getting my gun, I had to punch him in the face and I knocked out 2 of his teeth. I admitted that in CCRB and told him exactly what happened. CCRB did not exonerate. They said unsubstantiated. Unsubstantiated, if you look at it, you will think that, wow, it couldn't be proven or disproven. So now I had a CCRB against me. You would look at my record and you would think, wow, he used excessive force. That's the other angle to this. There's also the angle of 50A when you have off-duty incidents, say a family squabble, right? Husband and wife argue. That goes into your record. Even if it's a he said, she said, that a full repeal of 50A gives you insight into that record. Now, that's one of the things that I want to make sure that we approach with a balanced effort. Because if we don't, it's going to put too much forward on the other end. And I do understand that there need to be reforms. We just need to make sure that it's balanced and fair. And that's all I ask. And I think that'll go a long way in improving relations in all our communities. And I've worked in many communities across the city. I worked in East Flatbush. I worked in Williamsburg. I worked in Midtown Manhattan. So I just wanted to give you some insight into the other end. Thank you so much.